What's going on, guys? Tristan24 here. Welcome back to a video on the channel. Today's video I have for you match week 42 predictions for the championship. Of course, after this match week we only have 4 match weeks left for most teams. Of course, some teams still do have some games in hand, but it is shaping up to be a very close and entertaining end to the season, as it always is in the championship. Still nothing decided. Last weekend we could have had Fulham promotion wrapped up. They ended up losing to Coventry, and they also needed Forest to lose to Birmingham, which they actually won. Talking about predictions, last week, of course, the predictions every week, as we always do, add on to the prediction league. So on screen now will be the prediction league, so you can see how everyone's doing. This is probably the last chance, really, if you're decent at predictions, to get in. After this match week you probably won't get as, like to the top, but you might get a decent finish anyway. Depends how fortunate you are, really. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get into these predictions. Starting off with Luton Town against Nottingham Forest, the 12:30 kickoff on Friday. Of course, all these games being played on Friday. And we also have the Monday games as well, so 2 prediction videos this weekend. But first of all, Luton Forest. I think it's going to be a really entertaining game, really close. Of course, Luton lost the big game against Huddersfield 2-0. Adebayo missed a penalty as well. And a lot of controversy over that whole game. But in this one, I'm going to back the Hatters to get a 2-1 win at home, stop Nottingham Forest's hot form. But I'm not too confident with it, but I just think a sneaky suspicion that will happen in match week 42. Up next is West Brom against Blackpool. Of course, 2 teams who had different expectations going into the season. West Brom, of course, for promotion. Blackpool to try and survive relegation. Both now, at this point in the season, are safe, not going up, not going down. And this one really will have the end of season sort of vibe around it. I think it's going to be one of those games where not a lot's going to happen. I'm going to say 1-1 for that one. Bournemouth against Middlesbrough is the next one. Big game, this one, for Middlesbrough and for Bournemouth. Bournemouth are being hunted down by Nottingham Forest. Should they win this weekend and Bournemouth lose, that's only a 3-point gap between the 2 sides then. And they do have to play each other, which will be a massive game. Middlesbrough, of course, recently their poor form is not going to get them into the playoffs, so really both teams need the points here, but I think the home advantage with Bournemouth, I think they'll get it in a 2-1 win. Up next is Swansea against Barnsley. Swansea had a terrific week last week, of course, beating Cardiff 4-0, Millwall 1-0, and then top it off 2-1 against Derby. This game against Barnsley should be a bit more straightforward than the Derby one. Both teams have awful away records, and that's part of the reason why they are down in the relegation zone. I'm going to back the Swans for a win. I'm going to say 2-0. I would like Barnsley to get something just to spice up the relegation battle, but I can't see it, because their away form is awful. I mean, last week they lost 4-1 away at Millwall, and they weren't really doing too good. So I think I will definitely back the Swans for a win here. I'll go 2-0. Hull against Cardiff next up. Hull have been really underestimated, really, since the new managers come in and the new takeover, of course. Next season will look really good for them. Cardiff, however, they did win at the weekend against Reading, but Reading aren't anything too special. I think this will be a decent game, but I think Hull will come away with the points, 2-0. Peterborough against Blackburn next up now. Peterborough, if they had Grant McCann about 10 match weeks earlier than what they did, I think they would definitely have put up a lot more of a fight to Reading and the teams above them, of course. Against Blackburn, who are really inconsistent, and they just, not really inconsistent, they just cannot buy a win at the moment, no matter how hard they try. And hopefully, because every time recently I've put Blackburn to win a game, I'm going to put 1-1 with the hope for Blackburn that they actually get the win. But Peterborough, if they win this, you know, sort of keep their hopes alive, but realistically the bottom three is all but done, to be honest. And Blackburn, really, this has to be 3 points if they are going to get the top 6, because if they drop points here, I just don't know how they can bring themselves back up and keep themselves competitive. Of course, they're not a big gap away. It's just they need to be in there, because if you're not in there, you're not in the playoffs, you don't have a chance to go up. So that's the bottom line of it. For this one, I'll go 1-1. Preston against Millwall in this one. Preston, I don't think they'll be going up this season. There's not too much riding on this game for them. Millwall, however, there is a lot riding on this game. If they do drop points, realistically, you think they're out of the playoff race. If they get a win here, you'd still probably keep them in it. I certainly haven't crossed off Millwall for the playoff race yet, and I don't plan to do so. I think this one will be a 2-1 away win for Millwall. Sheffield United against Reading is the next game. Sheffield United is really poor start to the season. Of course, they built it back up. Reading, the opposite. They've just had a terrible season, but hopefully next season it's a lot brighter. For this one though, I'm going to say the hosts will get a 3-0 home win over Reading. Stoke against Bristol is the next game. Bristol, I sort of got their prediction right. I did back them to drop points at the weekend. Stoke, however, they're so hard to predict recently. They get a win here, a defeat there, and a draw in the middle. It's so hard. But for this one, I'm going to get them. Of course, they're at home. I'll say they win 2-1 in this one. Up next is Birmingham against Coventry. Coventry beating and doing a double actually over Fulham, which no one else can say they've done this season. Birmingham, I just don't know what to say about them. Inconsistent is the only word that sums up. It'll be Coventry going back to the stadium that they played all their home games at last year, of course. With the Rico not being available to them last season. For this one though, I'm going to back Coventry to get an away win, 2-1. Huddersfield against QPR is the next game. It's all but over for QPR really. Now they're quite a few points now off the top 6. And with a massive injury crisis, you know, they've got the best centre back Rob Dickie out. They've got like 5 goalkeepers out. So it's just not looking promising for them. And so for this game, I am going to have to give the points to Huddersfield. And it's not just like, QPR just got such a, not dead, don't want to use that word, but such an incomplete team from what they had at the start of the season. I have to give the points to Huddersfield. No, because Huddersfield actually deserves them based off the table really, because recently they've been superb. Hopefully for them, they do well in the playoffs, because they're all but certainly going to get them, in my opinion. And the final game of the match week is Derby against Fulham. Now, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here. I did say that the relegation battle is all but done, but I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here for the promotion as well. I'm going to say Derby are going to win this one 2-1. Why? 1, they're at home. 2, Fulham have just come off the back of a defeat. So yeah, that doesn't really have too much to do with it, does it? But the main thing is, I think Derby are going to win this. They put up a really good fight against Bournemouth earlier on in the season, and against Fulham, if I remember correctly, away. Not 100% on that one though. But in this game, I just sense Derby are going to get the 3 points in a 2-1 home victory. It'll be very difficult to get the points, but I think they will. Just have a sneaky suspicion. So guys, that wraps up my predictions for match week 42 in the Championship. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please do drop a like and subscribe. Get your predictions in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video very soon, because don't forget, we've got Bank Holiday Monday games in the Championship as well for match week 43. So I'll be back with you for more predictions quicker than you can say Fulham are going to the Premier League. Yeah, that's right. In a bit guys, hope you've enjoyed and see you next time.